I'm sorry, I realized I made a mistake on a previous recording, so I'm redoing the last two examples of your composite notes. So on the second to last one, we have a pyramid on top of a prism. So the pyramid covers the prism completely. To find the total area of this composite, I'm going to find the lateral area of my pyramid, which is the area of all my faces with an F. I'm also going to find the lateral area of my prism and then add one base of my prism. The base of the prism that I'm finding represents the very bottom of the composite. So that would take into consideration everything I needed for the structure. So when I look at the lateral area formula of a prism, I'm sorry, of a pyramid, it tells me I need 1/2 times my perimeter times my slant height. So I'm going to need to find the perimeter of my pyramid base, and I'm also going to need to find the slant height. And then for a prism, the lateral area is P times H. So I'm going to need the perimeter of my prism base and the height of my prism. So this little right triangle is the triangle that you can always pull out of a pyramid to find your slant height. You use your 3D height and half of your base to find your slant height. The 3D height of my pyramid is 8. That's represented by the dashed line that you see on the picture. And since my entire base side length was 6, that's why I put 3 to represent half of that. And again, the slant height is always the hypotenuse in that particular triangle. To find the to find the perimeter of my pyramid, since it was a square pyramid, I needed just to take 4 times the one side, and the one side was 6, so 4 times 6 is 24. So it's 24 centimeters. And again, I used the shortcut to calculate my slant height. So since I had A and B, I'm supposed to add those two together and take the square root. And my calculation ended up being 8.5 centimeters for my slant height. So now I have everything I need to find the lateral area of my pyramid. Now for our prism. We need to know the perimeter of the base. Again, it's the same base as it was for the pyramid. So that's why the base perimeter is going to be the same value, 24. And then the 3D height of my prism is represented by 2.5 centimeters. So now I have everything I need to find the lateral area of my pyramid and my prism. I also need to find the base area of my prism. Since it is a square, again, you take the side and you square it. So I take 6 and I square it and I would get 36. So now for my total area, the formulas I need, again, are 1/2 P times L, that's for my pyramid, plus P times H, that is my prism, plus the very bottom of the figure, which represents the base of your prism. So that's 1/2 times 24 times 8.5 because the perimeter was 24. The slant height was 8.5. Plus, again, my perimeter was 24, but the 3D height of my prism was 2.5. Plus the base area of my prism, which again was 36. I've typed all of this into the calculator together, slowly and carefully, to make sure you don't forget anything. And when done correctly, I got 198 centimeters squared. Now for the volume. The volume, again, is so much simpler. You just need the volume of your pyramid plus the volume of your prism. So for the pyramid, the volume formula is 1/3 the base area times the height. For the prism, it's just simply the base times the height. So it's 1/3 times, uh-oh, there's another mistake. The base area, not the perimeter. Glad I'm going back through this. Where's my eraser? The base area. The base area of my pyramid is 36. The height of my pyramid is 8, so that was correct. I did it again here as well. I put the perimeter, not the base area. Should have been a clue when I got my volume being such a small number. Usually the volume is equal to the figure or more. Very rarely, if ever, is it less than the area. So the base area of your prism, again, is 36. And then the 3D height of my prism was 2.5. So I need to erase this final value also before I grab my calculator and put everything back in again. So again, we're going to put all of this in the calculator. Slowly to make sure we don't mess up. So 1/3 times 36 times 8 plus 36 times 2.5. And this will be our correct volume, 186 centimeters cubed. I'm going to do the best to write this with my finger because my pen stylus is not cooperating at the moment. So 186. We're going to have to pause right here, and I'm going to have to resume the next the last example on a whole nother recording. I apologize. My computer is not cooperating. Alrighty. I realized I made a mistake on this example as well, so let me clear it up. Now, to find the total area of this composite, you're going to take half the total area of a cylinder because it's half of a cylinder on the top, plus the total area of a prism, which is the bottom, minus two prism bases because that's the area that is common between both shapes. This shaded in purple. Um, my mistake was the formula for the total area of a prism. I wrote it incorrectly. I put 1/2 pH. As I was saying, the mistake that was made was the formula for the total area of a prism. I'm sorry, of the cylinder. It's supposed to be 1/2 pH plus 2B, and the only part I had was the 1/2 pH, so I need to add plus, excuse me, plus 2 bases to that part of the formula. So 1/2 pH plus 2B. Now, the formula for a prism is the same. It's pH plus 2 bases. And then we have to subtract the 2 bases of the prism. Now, if you notice, I have 2 bases of, I'm adding 2 bases of a prism because that's what the formula of total area says to do. But then I also have to take away the shared portion, which is the same thing as 2 bases. So they're going to cancel each other out, which would leave me with 1/2 pH times 2B from, or plus 2B from the cylinder, and then plus the perimeter and the height of the prism. So let's erase this formula down below so that we can have everything we need. Goodness gracious. Alright, so the correct formula we need, we're going to write it down, is 1/2 perimeter of the cylinder, height of the cylinder, plus the 2 bases of the cylinder, plus the perimeter of the prism times the height of the prism. So let's go ahead and get our formula ready for our substitution. Alright, to find the perimeter of a cylinder, you're finding the circumference. And we found the circumference by taking 2 times pi times the radius. The radius was 6 because, as you can see, the diameter of our circular base is 12, so that means the radius is 6. So when you plug in to the calculator 2 times pi times 6, you would get roughly 37.7. but I think I want to leave it as 12 pi. I'll wait till the very end to round. And then the height of my cylinder is represented by the side of the prism, the 8, because as you can see, there's a distance of 8 between the two circular bases. So that means 8 is the height for my cylinder. Now to find the base area of my cylinder, it's calculated by pi times radius squared. So that's pi times 6 squared, or 36 pi. Now onto the prism. The prism, we needed the perimeter of the base, and the perimeter of the base is found by taking 2 times the length plus the width. So that would be 2 times 8 plus 12, or 2 times 20, which is 40. So the perimeter of the prism is 40. And then the height of the prism would be 10. 10 represents the distance between the two bases. So now we're going to put all of this in the calculator in one step. And make sure we don't miss a piece. We got to put it slowly. So the first one being 1/2 times 12 pi times 8 plus 2 times 36 pi. Plus 40 times 10, which is 400. So our total area is roughly 776.99 centimeters squared, rounded to the hundreds. 776.99. To find the volume, since you have half of a cylinder, you're going to find the volume of half of a cylinder plus the volume of the prism. The formula for cylinder's volume is B times H, so we're going to take 1/2 times BH. And then the formula for a prism is B times H. So that means it would be 1/2 times 36 pi, which represents B again for my cylinder. And then our 3D height for our cylinder was 8. And then to find the base area of the prism, it's length times width, which is 8 times 12. And that calculates to be 96. So the base of 96 is plugged in. And then the 3D height for the prism is 10. So once you type that in nice and carefully, you should get approximately 1412.4 centimeters squared. I'm sorry, centimeters cubed if I was rounding to the 10th place. So this concludes the lesson on composites and spheres.